Hey y'all, it's Cassidy, and today we're going to discuss how to edit YouTube videos. So you guys, this video is perfect for anyone looking to start their YouTube channel. Maybe you already developed a YouTube channel, now you're looking for little tips and ways that you can advance your editing style. And if you have not already, check out my how to film yourself video, especially for those beginners. If you're really getting into YouTube, you don't really have too many people around you to help you out, then these videos are going to be perfect. So let's dive in. When it comes to editing video, the first most important thing, you guys, is to secure some kind of editing software or editing program that you really enjoy editing on. If you do have any Apple devices or if you're an Apple user, then that's great because you automatically get a free software called iMovie, whether you have your phone, your iPad, or your computer. So that software works very well, has tremendous capabilities when it comes to editing a simple video or even a little bit more of a complex cinematic style video. If you're not an Apple user, or maybe you are a little tired of iMovie, want to try something else, there's also another free software called DaVinci Resolve, which is a software where you can do free video editing as well, so check that out. If you guys have already been editing on iMovie or basic software and you're looking to take it a step up, then I personally would recommend a software such as Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro X. I personally use Final Cut Pro X because for me it was a simpler transition to go from iMovie to Final Cut Pro X, and I love it so far. But I do have Premiere, and I have used Premiere Pro before, and I know a lot of people really enjoy that software as well, and that has tremendous editing capabilities. And then I've also dabbled a little bit in Adobe After Effects, so that's a seamless transition from Premiere to Adobe After Effects. Once you guys have gotten your editing program down, you're good to go, you know how you're gonna edit. The next thing you want to do after importing all your footage that you've taken from filming yourself into your editing program is now you want to be able to cut and arrange your clips onto your timeline. So typically every editing program, no matter what you're using, is going to have the viewer, which is going to show you whatever you're editing, whatever you're working on, or whatever video or footage that you're previewing. And then you're always going to have your timeline, which is chronological order of all your clips. So from there, I know on iMovie, Final Cut, Premiere, it's going to be a clicking and drag motion. So from there, you're going to find the clips that you want to use, click and drag them into your timeline, preferably in the order that you want to watch them in, or that you want your viewers to watch them in. But it's okay if you don't put them in the order in the beginning, because you can always rearrange your clips. First, I'm going to go into cutting and splitting your clips. A popular way to cut and split your clips, especially on Final Cut, is to just click and either drag if you're just trying to trim some from the end or the beginning, or you can right click to split your clip as well. So you can right click on it, or you can file, or you can edit split clip on your clip as well. There's so many different shortcuts. I'm a shortcut person, so sometimes it's very hard for me to think of the way to do it without the keyboard shortcut. But I know like Adobe, you use the I and the O to represent in and out. So there's different ways depending on what program you're using to split your clip, and there's usually multiple ways you can do so. So just kind of explore those ways. But you always want to cut your clips, you guys, because they can run very long. These videos you see, I'm probably spending 20 to 30 minutes actually filming and talking and 20 minutes of footage. But when I go in and edit, I'm like, okay, is this part really gonna help my audience? Sometimes I do like to have little personality pieces in there just so you guys can kind of get to know me, know that I'm a real person. But also I just want to make sure that I don't overextend. You want to cut your clips, make sure they're not too drawn out, make sure you can keep your audience's attention. So if it's anything that you're like, and do I really need this, you probably do not need that in your clip. You have cut your clip, so now you want to rearrange it. So maybe you put them in chronological order. Cool, you like it, looks good, great. But some other things you can do to kind of catch your viewers' attention in the very beginning is maybe take a really interesting piece that you said and put it in the very beginning. So start your video with something really interesting, intriguing, something that grasps your audience's attention, and then you get into the topic of the video. So that's one way you would kind of take it out of chronological order, but still, you know, have it chronological after that piece. After you rearrange, cut your clips, have everything in order how you want it on your timeline, that's when it's a good time to start to add any titles or music that you want to add to your clips. So going into titles are going to be crucial, of course, if you need to title your video. Titles are also great if you want to put like your social media or some kind of logo or watermark on your video. It's going to work the same way as kind of putting in images or titles. Also, if you want to have like a little subscribe pop-up or anything that you want in your video that's going going to have some kind of text or be a resource. A lot of times if I'm just kind of discussing something that doesn't have a lot of b-roll, it's more like a note-taking video, I'll put text on the side just kind of going down explaining the little steps that I think are important that the audience should grasp. With music, a lot of times people, when they are doing a sit-down video, they'll use background music just to kind of go under the tone of the voice, or if you're doing a vlog or some kind of video that involves a lot of scenes where there's no audio, use no non-copyright music. I think it's the non-copyright music library from YouTube, so that's usually the first thing that I go to. I usually will do that every like couple months or so. I'll go on there and just listen to all kinds of music and go ahead and download the ones that I like. So then when I do go into editing, I just already have them in a playlist and I already can just select from them, or you can go in the moment and kind of download whichever songs you like. I also like to actually produce my own music sometimes. I personally use Logic Pro X now too, because I am a little bit into music production as well. So I will definitely release a video on creating your own non-copyright music if you guys are interested in that. There's some really good copyright, non-copyright music out there, and make sure you always read the description, because typically they say, yes, you can use this, it's all yours. Just please give credit to the artist in the description. You've cut, you've rearranged your clips, you guys have added titles, music, beautiful. So from there, it's a fun time to start to add additional media elements. So especially if this is a sit down video like this, then you may want to add something us filmmakers call b-roll. So b-roll is just footage. It doesn't necessarily have audio in it. It's just footage that lays over something. And they're watching you talk the whole time. It kind of gives an audience a visual of what you're talking about. Once you guys have gotten your clips in order, you have added your titles, you have your music, you have any additional media elements, the last thing that will kind of spruce your video up, just that last bit, would be effects. So when it comes to effects, these can include sound effects. These can include transitions maybe, or different like effects that you could overlay on your video, or even actual like color grading and color effect. So sound effects are used a lot by a lot of YouTubers. I'm personally not much of a sound effect person, but sometimes YouTubers will use sound effects during a transition. They'll use sound effects when they have text pop up on the screen, or when they say something, there's some kind of sound effect. So if you're a more animated channel and that's something that you're interested in, then I would definitely suggest going and getting non-copyright sound effects online. Or if you're using, of course, like iMovie or Final Cut, then Apple provides a whole sound effect library that you can take different sound effects from. Other than sound effects, another fun one is transitions. So sometimes a YouTuber will introduce their video and then they'll have like a swipe to the left transition, and then that will continue the continuation of whatever they introduced of the video. So you can use transitions when you're kind of moving from topic to topic. Up to you. Again, it's based off your style. Me, I'm not much of a transition person, but if that's something that you want to do, that you want to play around with, then feel free to play around. Just don't overdo it and try to stick to the same transition throughout the whole video if you are going to use a transition. So if you're gonna swipe to the left anytime you change topic, then continue that swipe to the left. We don't need to see a diamond and then tiles and all that kind of stuff. Just keep it tame, keep it mild, because you don't want to distract from what you're actually saying to your audience. Outside of transitions, you guys can play around with certain effects that are available in whatever editing program you're using. Again, just like transitions, I would say keep these very light. So like maybe you're showing something that happened in the past and you want to use like a little video vintage camera effect, then keep that, but don't play around with way too many effects on stuff. Don't like transition from like sci-fi to night vision. Like just kind of keep it within the content of the video. Like I said, you do not want to distract your audience from what you're trying to provide for them. And then the last thing that's very important when it comes to editing video is going to be color grading. So color grading is something that I've known about for a while, but it was something that I wasn't always sure exactly how to do. I would play around with it a little bit and I would never get it quite to where I wanted it to be. But I was kind of saved a little bit by VSCO. VSCO saved me with color grading because VSCO came out with a feature where you can add the VSCO filters onto your videos if you just paid a $20 a year subscription. I'm like, great, $20 a year, that's not bad. So what I would do is I would film my videos, edit them completely, be done with them, export them from whatever editing program, and then I would send them to my phone. After sending them to my phone, I would put them inside of VSCO, apply my favorite like filter that was fitting my aesthetic at the time onto the video, kind of adjust it a little bit, export it from VSCO, send it back to my computer, and then import it to YouTube. So that was kind of my beginning color grading experience, semi, because I knew how to edit photos in VSCO. So I just took what I knew from editing photos and put that into video. I was able to step my game up when I started using Lightroom. So Lightroom was another program I was using to edit photos, and I discovered I can also edit my video. So I realized if I screenshot my video, like a still frame, and I imported my video and that screenshot into Lightroom, I can edit the screenshot however I like to edit my photos, and then from there I can sync that edit over to my video edit, and it would edit my video exactly like that. So it took away that step of having to send it to my phone, wait for it to load in VSCO, and send it back. So Lightroom was like my go-to, and still is my go-to, because for me it has the most adjustments that I can make. But recently Final Cut Pro X did add in software color grading. They already kind of had it before, but now you can actually add your own custom LUT. So LUTs are something that a lot of people actually use instead of physically going in and manipulating the colors themselves. LUTs act more like filters, but for videos. So LUTs are very popular. There's a lot of free LUTs out there that are really, really nice and very cinematic looking. So you can use a LUT for a period of time. I was using the custom LUT effect on Final Cut, dragging that over on top of my video, and then I had downloaded kind of that little teal orangey look that a lot of people were doing at the time. So those are ways that you can color grade without having to actually know the specifics about how color and light and shadow and highlights and everything is going to change everything. It's kind of like a cheat way to, I wouldn't say it's a cheat way, I say it's, work smarter, not harder. If someone already created a cinematic look that you like, then great, use that. So color grading is kind of that last kind of finishing overlay effect that makes you look so professional. But yeah, so these are my tips when it comes to editing your own YouTube videos, keeping them very intriguing and professional looking. I believe if you guys follow these tips, then your videos in no time will grasp that audience's attention, and these editing and your edits and how you edit is going to have a lot to do with that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're interested in seeing more videos about building your brand, your business, your YouTube channel, creating your own content for yourself, then definitely subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. I post every week, so check me out.